So last night, Riley Gaines, after being assaulted at the University of San Francisco, or San Francisco University, whatever it happens to be, was on Tucker. She was stuck in the hallways after giving a speech at the college for 3 hours. 3 hours stuck in a hallway because security just could not get her out of there, or did not want to do what was required to get her out of there. That's probably a more descriptive or more better way to describe it. They didn't want to do their job. And so she was stuck there for 3 hours while this trans nut job riot happened. It was just insane. Here she is last night on Tucker explaining what happened.
Riley Gaines, thank you so much for coming on. Was that as horrifying as it looked?
I mean, it was terrifying for me. The police did not inform me of any sort of action plan. Turning Point USA invited me to the campus. I delivered a very civil and respectful speech where I had great dialogue with even protesters who were participating in a sit-in. All of a sudden, after my speech, the room was stormed. The lights were turned off, and I was rushed with no one there to escort me to a safe place. I was punched. I was hit multiple times. I was shoved until finally we exited the room. But we could not leave because the protesters flooded the halls. And so I was pushed into a classroom along that hallway where I was barricaded in for 3 hours.
Stuck in a classroom for 3 hours because the cops wouldn't do their job, or there weren't enough of them, or whatever the situation was.
Why didn't someone with a gun come and bring you to safety?
Because they were terrified. They were scared to put their hands on these people because they know what these people are capable of.
Well, that's a great point. The cops know, even though that their duty is to protect somebody, the cops know that they will not be backed up by the administration, right? If you protest and take over the well of the Tennessee House of Representatives, that is just speaking up. That's just speaking truth to power. That's not an insurrection, right? The cops know that everyone sees this, that if you actually do your job as a cop, you're going to be penalized.
People yelled obscene, violent, vulgar things to both myself and the officers I could tell didn't feel comfortable putting them in a position that would mean they do their job, which is a really scary, chilling thought.
This is the most dangerous extremist movement in the United States right now. It's getting bigger, not smaller. It's gaining.
That's right, Tucker. Excellent.
Not losing it. The White House has endorsed it. I mean, what does this mean for you? And I just can't say it again since I happen to know you. You are an inherently moderate person who means harm to no one. But are you worried about your safety going forward?
You know, I am worried about my safety. I have to be now. When we have people who are willing to do this, and we know why they're willing to do this, it's because they don't have reason, they don't have logic, they don't have science, they don't have common sense on their side. That's on my side. And so they protrude by violence, whether it's physical or verbal violence. But what this means for me,
and that's true. I mean, we've seen this everywhere, right? We've seen this in New York City earlier this week while I was there. We've seen it in Tennessee. Whenever they can't win on the merits, they try to shout you out or down, and they try to physically intimidate you, which is exactly what was the attempt for Riley Gaines. She's not buying it.
Does not deter me. This assures me that I am doing the right thing. This will not silence me when they want me to be silenced. It just means I need to speak louder.
Really quick, did anyone in the state of California in authority, any political figure, for example, defend you?
No, not the dean of students, not the campus police. I will say the city of San Francisco police that stepped in, they did a phenomenal job in escorting 3 hours later. But I will be pursuing legal action. I will ensure that the people who physically assaulted me, the people who put me in that position, they will face repercussions.
Yeah, I mean, if we can't identify that as evil, then we've really lost the thread. Riley Gaines, I'm glad you're still here, and
Absolutely.
Godspeed.
Way to go, Riley Gaines, and way to stick up for yourself and not be intimidated. Not to be intimidated. She is a poster child right now for showing how not to be intimidated. the former Kentucky swimmer. Good for her. Also, on the transgender front, transgender cyclists booted from women's championship after female competitors threaten boycott. Sports governing body rules cyclist is not currently compliant with its regulations. This is a couple of days old from the Daily Wire. Amanda, well, I can't pronounce your name, so I won't, but good job. Biological male cyclist who now identifies as a female was barred from competing in a women's championship race this weekend following threats of boycott from female. Good. Women, if women are going to save women's sports, women have to do it. You know, women have to save women's sports. That's why Riley Gaines was in San Francisco, to save women's sports. That was the basically topic of her speech. Emily Bridges, who formerly competed against men as Zach Bridges, was cut from the women's British national championship on Saturday. By the way, Europe is, I know, Europe, of all places, actually coming to their senses on this transgender thing faster than we are in the United States, especially, I guess, in the United Kingdom. This would have been Bridges' first race against women. Good, nip it in the bud. The athlete only began hormone therapy last year. Bridges was determined ineligible to compete under cycling's governing body after women threatened to boycott the race. I hope this is not just a matter of time where eventually this person would be allowed to compete. If you're a biological male and you grew up that way, you should not be in women's sports. Bridges, who set National Juniors men's record for over 25 miles in 2018, so that someone's been cycling for a long time, has been due to compete against several British Olympians, including Dame Laura Kenny, whoever that is. Probably some really good cyclist, in her first race in the women's category. All right, so there's the pronoun that they throw down there in her first race in the women's. No, it's his first race. It's so, I was just listening to Joe Rogan the other day, and he got the whole Tennessee Covenant School shooter pronoun situation wrong. And then they had to look it up for him, and he's like, oh, this is just going to be so confusing. And it can be so confusing from time to time. And they want it that way, right? However, the UCI ruled that the 21-year-old who began hormone therapy last year to reduce her testosterone level, oh my God, was currently not compliant with his regulations, as he still has registered as a male cyclist and therefore cannot compete in a woman until her male ID expires. Oh, so the reason why he's not competing is just it's a technical situation with some type of identity with the current eligibility as a male cyclist. He's currently identified as a male cyclist according to their rules, and therefore can't go into the women's category until his ID expires. Then they'll probably let him in. Okay, sure. Unless all the women decide not to ride, right? If he's the only one in the women's category and none of the other women decide to run that race, which is what they should do, then this farce will be over, right? This farce will be over. Let's talk about everyone's least favorite, Dylan Mulvaney. All right, so breaks cover to take trash at his LA home after living the good life at $1,500 a night at New York Plaza Hotel. By the way, the Plaza Hotel is really nice. I'm sure you know. I did walk by it the other day when I was in New York. Amid firestorm caused by Bud Light and Nike deals. So I just want to scroll down to these photos that some paparazzi got where he is taking out the trash right there. All right, he's taking out the trash at his LA home. And we got some close-ups here. There's one there. Well, wait for it. Here's the better one. There it is. He's got 5 o'clock shadow. He's got 5 o'clock. He's got more 5 o'clock shadow than I do. And I did not shave this Saturday morning. I just kind of Saturday, I skipped the shave. Dylan, look at that mustache. He's got 5 o'clock shadow right there. You can see it. He's a guy. He's a guy. He is not a her. He is a guy. Thank you, Daily Mail, for posting this. And I thought it was one other. No, he picking up some random piece of trash right there. He is a guy. a guy. It's a he. Let's stop this absolute insanity of calling people she when they're he, right? Let's stop that, and the opposite of that for that matter as well. Apparently over at Jack Daniels facing boycott calls after 2021 drag queen campaign. So apparently, to a little bit of notice in the middle of the pandemic, Jack Daniels ran a drag queen campaign. Something spoofing RuPaul's Drag Race. Small Town Big Pride campaign enlisted drag queens from the TV show to produce a series of videos called Drag Queen Summer Camp Glamp. Do I have that right? Drag Queen Summer Glamp, whatever, which was released during Pride Month of 2021, apparently. A spokesperson for Jack Daniels said that the distillery makes products with everyone in mind. And Jack Daniels celebrates individuality and living life boldly on your own terms. You know, when I think of the brand Jack Daniels and living your life boldly on your own terms, I think of Keith Richards, right? I think of Keith Richards. He is the one that defines the brand Jack Daniels, for me at least. Living life boldly on your own terms. That's Keith Richards, right?